Hello?
Hey, this is Sarah from the Voice Activation Department.
No time for that. Yeah, it'll be just on cam, just like this. All right, I believe we are live now on our Facebook channel. So we'll get right to it. All right, broadcast meteorologists. Our job is to communicate to you. So I'm going to try to sit here and just talk to you like we're in a room about our severe threat here this evening. So we do have a pretty decent severe threat. All right, what you're seeing here in orange, that's an enhanced risk area. That's level 3 out of 5. It certainly garners some attention. So from a time standpoint, we're looking at a window opening as early as 5 o'clock for our westernmost counties, and going up until perhaps 1 a.m. for our southern and easternmost counties here later on today. So I'm going to try to walk you through this, make the most sense of it. Hopefully that can give you at least an idea of what we're looking at here later today. If you ask some questions, I will try to address those. And again, we're just trying to talk and understand the weather that's coming tonight. We'll start with the setup. This is a fairly vast, large system here. And as we look at the big view, the storms that are going to impact us later today have not yet formed. This is well to the west of here, and eventually will materialize along this frontal boundary, and that'll be later on today. This is what that could look like. So I will switch on over to this. We're going to kind of just drag this forward. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. But this is essentially our viewing area right here, okay? You got Birmingham, Fayette, Tuscaloosa. You get the idea here. What we're going to watch, this is at 3 o'clock. I'm going to move this ahead to about 5. The initial wave, these are what we call conditional storms. I'm not 100% sure that these ones will form. Should they form, this is the type of thing we would look for as far as individual, rotation. We call these discrete cells. Discrete meaning they're by themselves, they stand alone, and these ones tend to not be interrupted or influenced by surrounding storms. So if we do get this early wave of individual cells, these would carry a higher tornado threat than other storms that we see here this evening. Again, that is conditional, meaning some model runs are showing that, others are not, but it's worth keeping an eye on as we head into the evening. In addition, discrete cells often have stronger updrafts and can carry hail cores with them as well. So another thing that we would watch. Okay, so that's the 5 o'clock timestamp. Let's move this ahead to just after 6 o'clock. Once again, we would have to watch out for. And one thing I will note too, models are not the answer key, not by any means. They don't depict exactly where a storm's going to be. That hardly ever happens. But what it does is it gives us an overview, a vision into what our radar could like later in the day. In this particular run, the last couple of runs have been suggesting we're going to see scattered thunderstorms or isolated individual thunderstorms ahead of a main line, and these of course always catch our attention for that exact reason. They're discrete, they're by themselves, they're free to spin, and we will have decent dynamics early on in this event. So again, something that's worth watching. All right, so here we are at 6 o'clock. We'll move this ahead a little bit further. And now, because of those early thunderstorms, okay, this is what came through early in the event in this particular scenario. These are over to Talladega, Anniston, Gadsden, Albertville. Well, guess what? This part of the atmosphere is worked over, okay? Anything that comes through prior to this line, there's a decent bet that it works over the atmosphere, and it's going to be very hard to get a severe thunderstorm to follow. You almost never see severe thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm. There's a lot of energy that's involved in keeping these sustained and supporting the thermodynamic features of them. So if we do see some pretty good thunderstorms move through early in the afternoon, that part of Alabama, wherever that's impacted, may not see a secondary wave of that. So that'll be something to watch. So on this particular run, at 10 o'clock, this puts kind of a broken line here from, again, you see this void of thunderstorms? It's like that because of what the model showed earlier. Thunderstorms in place. It's exhausted the atmosphere of energy. So at any point, if we get rain, thunderstorms, severe, non-severe, ahead of this line, it would probably influence the strength, the severity of what comes next. Bottom line, our window opens as early as 5 p.m. We'll watch for those individual type cells, and then the line would follow. This would probably be coming through places like the Birmingham Metro, perhaps Tuscaloosa, a little bit closer to 10 o'clock. So this is it's a fluid scenario. It's one that we'll watch. We know this. We know that the ingredients are there for this to be a severe weather event. Unfortunately, our severe weather season runs until the end of May, and here we are. We almost made it, but we have the potential for severe weather, and we'll be here. We'll get through it together. You'll be able to see this winding down closer to midnight. This is going to be a fairly quick moving system. So, at this point, this suggesting this is south of Demopolis, maybe to Clanton, and the overall intensity level of this is going to be waning, going to be dropping. You think about a couple things we're losing. Number one, instability, although there's a pretty good amount to begin with. So, but that'll be dropping. The fact that where we are in relation to the surface low with this will be up near Chicago. So the surface low being displaced, that will help kind of drop those dynamics, and eventually, by 1 o'clock or so, this will be done, history over with, no multiple rounds here. So hopefully that makes some good sense. And again, I'll just review our impacts here this evening, and I'll try to look at some of these comments here because we are on live. So. Well, James is not here, and usually that's a good thing. If you see him, then it's happening now. This is me. I'm just saying, hey, here's what's coming. We're going to try to just give it some context, okay? We will have a tornado potential, as I kind of laid out there. Hail could be up to golf ball size. That would be on the higher end. I don't anticipate, widespread golf ball size hail. We don't typically have that with storms down here, but it's certainly possible on the higher end. Gusty winds up to 70. We saw it this past weekend. There's enough wind energy for certainly the higher end storms to have strong wind gusts. Also, I don't know about you guys, but my house, we've had too much rain. We don't need any more rain. We needed it. We got it. Now we need it to stop. But if we get heavy enough rain in a location, there could be isolated flooding instances. Another thing to note with the heavy rain that we've had, it's not going to take a whole lot to get that pine tree to tip over, to get that oak tree to tip over. The ground's saturated, so wind gusts, they'll knock over trees much more readily than they would if it were dry out. So again, we're going to be just watching this. This is simply an update early in the day to try to give you guys a heads up here. If you know of people who rely on a weather radio, those are 99% of the time one of the best things you can have. Unfortunately, there's an outage today. They're doing a software upgrade on the weather radios in the Birmingham area served. So your weather radio will not push out those warnings. There will be warnings issued. Should the storms become severe to some degree, any limit, that warning will go out. You'll get it through the ABC 3340 app if you download that. You will get the alert based off of where you are. You can customize that to be a push alert with sound, and that way it'll get your attention, and it will follow where you go. If you have, a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, whomever that lives out somewhere in a bit more rural, right? Give them a call. Be like, hey, today, I know you don't ever follow the weather. Today might be one of those days where you follow the weather. That's all we're asking here today. And you know what? You might not get severe weather in your neighborhood. Hope you don't. But there's a good enough evidence of a potential of strong thunderstorms today. We just want you to be prepared. If you're prepared, you're good to go. We'll get through it together. Me and James will bug you. The weather team will bug you all evening if we have to, but this is the time just to prepare. So that is why we are popping on here, or why I'm hopping on here to give this little update. You can drag back through the video and see, I talked about timing it out. Our window opens at 5 o'clock in our westernmost counties. In fact, I'll just pop that graphic up again, see if you guys can see that. But basically, window opens late afternoon, and we'll see this cross central Alabama throughout the evening. So throughout that window, have ways to get notifications. If you have a radar app, you'll be able to follow this. It should be a one and done type deal, and we'll be with you. We'll hop online, we'll hop on air, and again, just popping on to help, not to scare. Certainly don't want to cause any storm anxiety. That is absolutely, the last thing we want. It's what I had as a kid, so never want to pass that on. Just want you to be prepared. That's all. And again, hope you don't have any strong storms come your way, but if need be, we'll be here. So you guys have a great day. We'll be live here at 11 o'clock for the newscast, and then update you in the afternoon as need be. Hope you guys have a great day.